the Milan Cathedral, the Notre Dame Cathedral, the Windsor Castle, St. Stephen's Cathedral in Vienna, Austria, the Cologne Cathedral, the Tower of London, and Edinburgh Castle. They all have one massive thing in common. What is it? All of these places having this one thing that shows that the mainstream history is not giving us the full picture, and it's not even close. Massive palaces all over the world, constructed with perfection, and not one of these structures was built with a toilet. We are told that humans could ride on their donkeys without a light bulb and without a road, and construct palaces in every single country. Yet they had to go to the bathroom in their yard and wipe with a leaf. No, we're living in the ruins of the previous civilization. A civilization that either didn't use toilets at all, or this group of people were so advanced that they used a form of plumbing and sanitation that is completely misunderstood to us today. A way to remove the waste so that it's not inside your house. It was repurposed by the people who came after. What was repurposed? Not the toilets, because they didn't have any. So many of these structures, in my opinion, are repurposed, and they now need a toilet. We have shown that by using the organ in these cathedrals, it resonates with the bones below the floors. We are told that humans built the Milan Cathedral but couldn't figure out how to manage human waste. We are told that they just put their waste in the streets. They tell us that they dumped it out of the windows with a bucket and wiping with their hand. This is the story. This doesn't translate to constructing perfect palaces with architectural designs that blow our minds today. Now, thinking logically, if you could build this, and this with perfection, zero mistakes, and they're still here today, then you would be able to design a sewer system that we use today. And we all know it. No running water, yet constructing granite with precision. If you don't have running water, it's incredibly dangerous for the entire population. You have filth everywhere, diseases, nobody is bathing. And according to the mainstream history, we are all told that ancient Rome, Greece, Mesopotamia, and the Indus Valley, they all had running water, public baths. The Romans supposedly had aqueducts, underground sewage. All of this over 2,000 years ago. This is what we are told. And then the year 500 hits, and that technology, it just vanishes. It's just gone. Nobody has running water anymore. No pipes and no baths, just ragging themselves off over in the pond. And this carries all the way to the year 1800. I believe that this is the mainstream narrative, admitting that the previous civilization was here. In this timeline that they show us, they are admitting that plumbing, clean water, and bathing actually happened. And then something massive happened. The advanced civilization was gone. And the mainstream narrative calls them the ancients, the Roman Empire, when this was just the previous civilization. Because we didn't evolve and we didn't advance at all. We went backwards 100%. Something happened. We are told that plumbing just started back up in the 1840s. Again and again and again. In our timeline, over and over. You can go back to episode 10 and 38. We've been saying this for years. It doesn't matter what topic you bring up. Everything starts back up in the 17 or 1800s. You can look at any basic invention. The plane, the TV, the phone, the light bulb, the population data spikes. You can read the stories, and they will all tell you that they discovered sites in the 1800s. They never discovered this stuff before it. We've documented this hundreds of times now. Our civilization's timeline just started, and we are being given back the old world technology. There was a reset, and it's beyond obvious at this point, where some people still didn't have plumbing until the 1970s. So after all of this, the question remains, why were these massive palaces constructed all over the world, covered in gold, marble, and stained glass, built with perfect geometry, yet they didn't have a toilet? So the question remains, why didn't these palaces have a toilet? You build this massive palace, and you can't figure out how to put a toilet in? We all know that this is not what happened. We already know they were technologically capable of putting a toilet in if they wanted to. We can see what they created. These things are still here today. And if you've ever been inside one of these structures, you'll know that they weren't constructed for a simplistic, donkey-riding, reading by candlelight, hut-living society. The individuals who constructed these palaces were incredible and purposely left the toilets off the blueprints. And I believe they did this because we are not being told what the true purpose of these structures really are. I believe they've been completely hijacked, just like everything else has. I believe that their true purpose was actually to be an energy machine. They were not constructed for people to go hang out inside of for long periods of time. We hear a lot about crypto, but here's the part most people miss. Crypto was created so you could actually own and control your money. After the 2008 financial crisis, Bitcoin was designed as an alternative to banks. So instead of a bank holding all of your money, delaying transfers, or limiting access, you are in control. And if you've ever had to wait for a transfer to clear, you felt that problem. Fast forward to today. Everybody in the world has heard of crypto, but getting started has felt complicated. That is exactly why I use Rumble Wallet. It takes all of that complexity and makes it simple. Choose what you want: Bitcoin, dollar-backed stable coins, or even digital gold backed by real gold. No complicated setup. It connects with MoonPay, so you can use your credit card, debit card, or bank and be up and running in minutes. Start small: $10, $50, or $100. It's not about the amount. It's about taking the first step and just getting familiar with it. And once you're all set up, you can even support your favorite Rumble creators. So do this now. Scan this QR code or click the link in my description and download Rumble Wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet, tap buy, and you'll be in the game. In just minutes, you can go from hearing about crypto to actually owning some. And I'm going to prove it right now. Gothic cathedrals are constructed with sacred geometry, constructed using the golden ratio, where we all know that the Notre Dame Cathedral incorporates this ratio all over it, including in its floor plan layout. The golden ratio represents a specific relationship where the sum of two quantities divided by the larger quantity equals the larger quantity divided by the smaller one. These cathedrals are also constructed using the Fibonacci spirals as well as other geometry. These geometric designs, they are created for resonance. And this is where we go even deeper. The layout aligns with frequency harmonics, meaning that these structures were designed to conduct and amplify sound and energy. These structures were not constructed to just go sit inside of the way that we do today. And we are not being told their true purpose. So many cathedrals had massive pipe organs before electricity existed. Well, so we're told. Where so many times these organs were destroyed, renovated, or removed, including the Notre Dame Cathedral, where the grand organ has undergone multiple so-called reconstructions. Portions of the organ have been destroyed during the French Revolution. Another example of this is at the St. Paul's Cathedral, located in London, England, where the original organ was removed in the 1800s yet again, removing and reconfiguring the original pipes. Even in the Cologne Cathedral, Germany, where the organ was removed and lost. Give me a break. Doing this in the 1800s yet again, during a series of so-called restoration projects, where even the replacement was destroyed during World War II, which is crazy because the building survived and they made an agreement that you couldn't bomb it. So why was the organ being destroyed? And the further you go, the more you see how this happened everywhere. France, dismantling another organ. Spain, one was destroyed by fire, of course. And the Milan Cathedral, where it was home to one of the largest pipe organs in Italy. And over time, significant components were removed or downsized. I believe these structures didn't have plumbing because they were not places for people to stay for long periods of time. Were these places for people to go and heal, people to walk through? They would step in and get their frequency corrected, and then they would step out. It's all very interesting, especially when we see something shocking, and we take this even further, that the materials used for these structures, such as granite, limestone, and quartz were used in the construction, and they were, as we have documented so many times, brought from far distances. Now, why would you do this? They would do this because they needed it to be perfect. And these materials are known for their piezoelectric and electromagnetic properties. When stimulated by sound or pressure, these materials can emit charge or affect energy fields. These places were not at all what we've all been told. And I'm not so sure we should be going in some of these today, since we all know they've been hijacked, they've been taken over, they've been repurposed, and we all know so many of them have a lot of bones underneath the floors, which we've also shown have piezoelectric properties. The same thing that these structures are built with. These structures are not constructed for somebody to stay in for long periods of time. I believe these structures were originally created to be a place to undergo a healing experience like we've never seen before. And today, the organs are gone. They're destroyed or renovated. They've been changed, possibly to frequencies that it was never meant to be. And now we stay in these places for a very long time. So long that we need to go to the bathroom. And then we come sit back down. I don't believe that that was ever supposed to be the case. Healing centers that have been altered. And this is documented like we have shown. Going even further, these stained glass windows also give off a frequency where light isn't just illumination. Red, blue, green, and violet light all impact the body in different electromagnetic ways. The stained glass, it filters sunlight through a very specific frequency, and the entire interior is filled with color therapy. What have we just found? Color therapy. We have been fully unaware of what these structures are for so long. It's time that this technology is brought back to the world. And it begins by asking questions exactly like we're doing here today. And we are just scratching the surface of what these structures really are. Not only do they look incredible, but now we know that they were created to be so much more. And they were clearly not created by someone with no training that went and slept in a barn on some hay. This is so much deeper, including the floor plans, where they mirror circuit boards. The layouts of many cathedrals, viewed from above, look like electronic circuits, repeating shapes, symmetrical nodes, long corridors, and circular capacitor like chambers, where even the stained glass windows, like we mentioned, resemble fractal energy patterns. Now let's go even further. What properties make up a circuit board? You need a central node. This is the power source or processor. Capacitors, coils, this is for holding or amplifying the energy. Corridors, connections, the linking functions, and fractal logic. So now let's take this and compare it to the old world cathedrals. Starting with the Chartres Cathedral in France, we are told it was constructed over 1,000 years ago. And when you take a look at the floor, you're gonna see that we are correct. These are identical. Not for decoration, this is a resonator, a giant 42-foot diameter frequency loop, an energetic circuit. Not only that, but it also has 34 total turns, which is of course a Fibonacci number, the same exact sequence used in resonant antenna design and harmonic frequency tuning. These were created for healing. And the old world would walk through a massive field of vibration, generating subtle bioelectric responses, exactly like a circuit completing its loop. This circuit board has a continuous spiral loop, which creates a path for current to flow in repeating isolations. And it, of course, produces or reacts to vibrational frequencies. So when they destroyed those organs, in the 1800s, they knew exactly what they were doing. They were turning the machine off, and I believe we have just proved this. These were without a doubt not places to go and sit for long periods of time, which is exactly why those benches are not made of stone. They are made of wood, and they were put there by our civilization. I believe that these places, they were to get your mind, your body, and your inner self on the same frequency, the right frequency. And I believe this created a very powerful society. The exact thing this time period that we're all in does not want. This is all in my opinion, and I've said it before. Every sign points to this being a little season. Deception, destruction of the past, wars and the rest. I believe we now know why there weren't toilets in the cathedrals. But what about the other buildings, such as the Windsor Castle, the Tower of London, Edinburgh Castle, monumental places, and none of them were built with a toilet? Is it possible that the previous civilization, the one that was here before us, was clearly capable of things that would change their entire mindset, their vibration, their lives? What if it was just a very simple and logical explanation? What if they just had a much better way of going to the bathroom? What if this way of using the bathroom is completely degrading? What if it's incredibly primitive? What if we're right and the previous civilization didn't sit down on something that thousands of people have used before them? What if they didn't need to flush it through thousands of miles of pipes and hope that someone in a treatment plant can fix it? What if they didn't want to sit down on something that needed cleaning products that have a lot of chemicals in them? And do you understand what still water is? Still water is the water in the toilet bowl. It is water sitting stagnant. Did you know that still water is dangerous? And it sits in every single one of our houses today. Why would an advanced civilization, a very powerful and extremely intelligent civilization, why would they have still water in a palace? In a palace that heals you, still water loses oxygen over time, which kills good microbes and allows for the bad ones to thrive. Still water becomes a breeding ground for E. coli, mold, and disease. And we all use this today. The amount that we are not taught is incredible. But once we see these facts, you will never question why a palace from the old world didn't have a toilet again. I'm 100% certain at this point that they didn't put a toilet in their palaces because they weren't capable. It was because they didn't want to. And they knew exactly what happens in still water. Yet this is so normal today. We think it's crazy that the old palaces don't have a toilet. Not anymore. An advanced civilization would never trap filth in water and keep it inside their buildings. They would eliminate the waste instantly. And this gets even more intense and exposes this once and for all. Still water becomes a breeding ground for deadly organisms. Within a few hours, it can start growing bacteria that can infect, poison, or even kill. Toilets are disgusting, and this is exactly why they didn't put them in their palaces. Have you heard of Legionnaire's disease? I'm gonna tell you what, if you didn't think we were in a little season before this, I'm gonna prove it right now. They've put a toilet in every single one of our houses. How many people here have a toilet that's in their house that they haven't flushed in a while? Let's keep going. Legionnaire's disease. Over 73,480 illnesses annually from E. coli contaminating toilet water in the USA alone. So at this point, what do we all do right now to fix this? Because I don't want to freak you all out and ruin your day. What do we do? We're not all getting rid of our toilets right now. So how do we fix this? Step 1, before you flush the toilet, close the lid. Don't flush and let that water that's been sitting there for a while fly up into the air. Step 2, even if you don't use your toilets, flush them every single day at least once. Do not let them sit there. Step 3, you can take this even further and clean them. Take 1 cup of vinegar and a half a cup of baking soda, put it in the toilet, let it fizz and flush it. This kills the bacteria naturally without bleach. Step 4, do not put your toothbrush near the toilet, ever. And in all honesty, do these things and you're gonna be just fine. These people of the past, these people were incredibly intelligent as a society. There was not just 1 or 2 people here and there. They all worked together. They shared knowledge, and they were actually advanced. They were actually incredible. They were healthy, and they were constructing palaces that healed themselves. The previous civilization was incredible. And I believe that it's time that we take steps forward together, and we work together. We were never supposed to live like this. We were never supposed to flush filth into still water, breathe in toilet must, and call it progress. This is not evolution. This is regression. And I believe the craziest thing is that the toilets expose this. And once you understand that, you're gonna realize this isn't just about plumbing. This is about truth. It's about recognizing that in every single palace, every cathedral, every fortress built by the previous civilization was designed with something higher in mind, something clean, something powerful. These weren't monuments of control. They were machines. Machines that healed the body, balanced the mind, and aligned with your inner self. They flipped them upside down on us, turned off the power, and sat on them. Literally. The frequency was hijacked. The organs are silenced. The bells on top are gone. And the truth was buried underneath centuries of lies. But now, we're remembering. Not just what they built, but why they built it. And why the things that are missing were never meant to be there in the first place. Because no matter what anybody tells you, the proof is still standing. The missing toilets, the missing wires, the missing blueprints. But when you really step back and you think about it, nothing is missing at all. They left the truth right in front of us. They left it in stone, in glass, in sound, in color, in vibration, and it's all still here. We just had to ask the right questions. And now that we've asked these questions, we can go further and we will never unsee it. Why are we told so many lies? Why can I just drop the guy down on a random street in India and see the way that we build today? Something that a civilization that is going backwards would throw together and be very proud of. Until you spin the camera to the right and see that the old world is staring right down at it, completely embarrassing it. A palace from the past. The previous civilization didn't just build one. They built thousands of them all over the world. And we have shown this, especially when we spin this camera all the way around and see this structure. A structure that does not belong in our timeline. Something that has been here for much longer than what we have been told. Today, this building is used as a central railway headquarters. Imagine this being constructed in your town today, located in Mumbai, India, with a population today of over 12 million people, the largest city in India. This building was the replacement, we are told. Yet again, a reoccurring narrative, completed 7 years before the invention of the power tool in 1888. 136 years ago, with photos that will blow your mind. Horses and donkeys, wagons and chisels, living in sheds, and building palace train stations. Are we sure? Well, let's keep going. Pinned to this group again. All over the world. They just take care of our favorite locations. It's very nice of them. I find it very interesting that they are interested in the exact same research, the same structures that we are. Coincidence? An interesting note here is that this is located in India. Do you find it odd that there are individuals on the side of this building in stone that do not resemble the people of India today? They can make up a story all they want, saying that one of them was a wealthy Hindu businessman. But I think it's very obvious at this point that these people were of importance to the past, a past that was further back than what we are being told. Are you still on the fence that the truth isn't being told to us? I'll go deeper. In the 1950s, authorities had begun to remove statues of the British figures. British figures or the people that didn't fit in with the region? You tell me. The old world, removing the figures from the government buildings and public spaces based on a directive from the government of India. Most of the statues, not all the statues, but most of them, were sent to Victoria Gardens, where they were left lying in the grass, in the open, for 30 years. A right to information report was filed, but had no records of the missing statues being exported out of India. Of course it didn't. There were no records. Historians now believe that the statue or statues were smuggled out, sold by politicians, or destroyed. Destroying statues of the past. Now, do you think anything is off? Or are you still believing the mainstream story? Do you think that it's odd that all the statues that resemble the individuals on the wall were all removed and destroyed? Let me know in the comments below. The ones on the wall couldn't just be removed. They are on the wall. So they were forced to make up a story about those. But we all know that these individuals depict the past, the previous civilization. They were not from our timeline, in my opinion. And this is what they're hiding in the 1950s. Our true history, our true past. It's incredible. Destroying all of the old world's work, their statues, leaving some of them in the grass for 30 years. This information was hiding right in front of our faces for so many years. And now that you've seen it, you will never unsee it. And you will be able to connect the dots faster and faster, especially when we see that the supposed architect that they pinned to this building was Frederick William Stevens, an employee of the British government, a man pinned as the guy born in 1847. Frederick William Stevens started building his first project, the Royal Alfred Sailors' Home, in 1872. He was only 25 years old. It was a small house where the sailors could rest after sailing the sea. Oh wait, no? It wasn't? No, of course it wasn't. The 25-year-old is pinned to this, a palace, the Royal Alfred Sailors' Home. 25 years old. In the year 1872, a British government employee with no experience. This was his first project, completed in just 4 years. We are told, with the chunky stone facade, detailing having architectural sculpture in Bath stone, all done by Richard and his son, the Mason. And now we're even getting this same sun nod over in India. It's all over the world. This narrative repeats itself. We have obviously found a character that was used as the front guy for old world palaces. This building still stands on this site today. We can zoom in on the front of this thing at the top. We have old world technology, in my opinion, with Neptune in the middle, mermaids, sea lions, and the rest. Like we have shown, these depictions of the past are all over these buildings. They were depicting what they knew about the world and putting it in stone. I believe that the creatures depicted, they were here, and they may still be here. And would you like to go inside and see what kind of things that they've destroyed in the inside of this place? Or are they hiding it from you? Unfortunately, it is not possible for non-official visitors to go inside this high security building now, if you can believe it. Again, hiding our true past, built by a 25-year-old, we're told. Nothing against 25-year-olds, again. But 1870s, 25 years old, knocking out a palace? Anybody? And we can't enter the building today, destroying statues of the past. The building was acquired by the government of India in 1928 and making this sailor's home the police headquarters in 1982. Do you find this odd? Even the historians are confused here, saying it looks more like a luxurious hotel with large airy rooms and bathrooms. And then we get a great photo of Donkeys Incorporated, the incredible shipping company that helped bring the stone to the site. Frederick William Stevens, a man pinned to the old world buildings. I believe that everybody should be on the same page at this point. But if there are a few people that are still skeptical, I'm going to turn this up a notch and show you more of his work. I'm going to show you that what we have been told is far from the truth. Located in South Mumbai, we are given the Municipal Corporation building, again, pinned to Frederick William Stevens, and completed in 1893, 2 years before the power tool. A building that is going to give it all away. This building was built by a much more advanced previous civilization that seems to have left their mark on all of these buildings. And when you know what to look for, like we all do here, we are going to find it when we see that in South Mumbai, India, there is a griffin sculpture on the building. A griffin, yet again. A clear connection to the old world, when the Tartaria logo, a massive country from the past that is not taught in our history today, This country of Tartaria holds the symbol of a griffin on their flag. Going inside, we see that the central dome is built with perfection, precision. It's absolutely incredible stuff. Going back to this picture, you can see that the whole street is covered in this architecture. It's not just this building. Palace after palace. Oh, and it has an angel above the front door. If you've seen the last few episodes, you'll know what I mean. The plate here in the front of this is clearly covering something up. The true identity of this building is obviously under this rusted plate. It's embarrassing the things that we put on the old world's work. Come on, India. Look at that rust. Clean it up. With more old world tech at the top. No mistakes in the 1800s, where according to DonkeysIncNews.com, Stevens himself, as a baby, no training necessary, of course, he would lift that donkey high into the air, late into the night, while the town was at rest. Baby Stevens would saddle up that donkey, climb on that donkey's back, and chisel all of that stone up there at the top perfectly. A vacant 30,322 square foot palace, 130 rooms and 3 floors. We have the Raj Mahal, pinned to the same exact guy yet again. And this place has just been ruined. Our civilization found this building and clearly have no idea how to maintain their structures, letting it just deteriorate and using it until it looks the way we see it today, a total mess, and then abandoning it. And we all know what happens next. Destruction. And then wiping it from our timeline. So this has happened so many times and we know this. So it's time to expose the narrative and get everybody on board here. I'm going to show you something that should blow your mind. Here we go. We have the Gateway of India, an arch monument located on the waterfront of Mumbai, India. We are told that the foundation stone was laid in March of 1913 and completed in 1924. The problem is that there's a massive issue with this claim. We have a photo of this structure from 1911, predating the foundation stone by 2 years. So what's their excuse for this photo? Because it better be a good one. The Gateway of India was built to commemorate the arrival of George V on December 2nd, 1911. However, they only got to see a cardboard model of the monument. They are saying that this right here was a cardboard model. Does this look like a cardboard model to you? This narrative looks like a lie to me, as construction did not begin until 1915, when we were just told that construction began in 1913. The narrative is all over the place, telling us that this is a cardboard model. This is possibly the most insane thing that we have been told to this point. Absolutely unbelievable. I cannot believe that we believed this narrative for so many years. Clearly, somebody made a mistake and shared this photo with all of us, and they had to figure something out. We need to take a minute, and we have got to think about this conversation that they had creating this story. There must have been a couple guys in the room, and they had to figure something out. They gotta be saying, okay, the photo got released, and we definitely didn't want that to happen, so now we gotta fix it. So what do? Well, we can say it was a temporary structure before the real one, just like we do at the World's Fairs. Why would we build one before the original though? Well, just say we were in a rush for some queen or king to arrive. Great, yes, I love it. And what material was it made of? Stone? Marble? What? Cardboard? Yes, that's perfect. Cardboard, sure. But sir, what about the wind? Shut your mouth. There was no wind that day, of course. The people will love this story for years to come. The Cardboard Palace. Amazing. This is a mess. Construction did not begin until 1915. And literally, right next to that, construction started March 31st, 1913. Unbelievable. The Cardboard Palace. Can you believe it? What were we doing believing this nonsense for so many years? Who's the architect? Here, George Whitted. This is how we unlock so many old world structures, because they use the exact same character and pin that character to the rest of the palaces. Wittett designed some of Mumbai's best known landmarks, and they've changed the name obviously, where this first one was formerly named the Prince of Wales Museum of Western India. Now it's named this, the CSMVS. Right, and here it is, another palace of course. And we knew that this was gonna happen because we are correct. If we were wrong, these patterns wouldn't exist. We would have been proven wrong like a year ago. But the fact that it works all over the world, it proves that we are correct. They have renamed everything in this city, just like we just showed. They've even renamed the city, which used to be named Bombay. We know that they changed the names of these palaces, attempting to throw us off while researching, in hopes that one would stop researching, because it becomes too confusing. Well, that's not gonna happen, because now that we know its true name, we will find even more information of the city of Bombay. Dirt roads and palaces in the background, horses and wagons. It's incredible stuff. And right next to this gateway, we have the Taj Mahal Palace and Towers Hotel. What an incredible city, with an aerial shot here of both of these structures. On November 29th, 2008, the Taj Hotel suffered devastating damage during the attacks, where a lot of the building was destroyed by fire. The buildings that are here today are very important in understanding our past. They open the door for us to see that there was a previous civilization here, a civilization that were masters of construction, showing us physical evidence that they held technology that was extremely advanced. All over the world, these structures and sites are constantly under attack. We see it all the time today. And then you have to be able to understand that this has been going on for such a long time. They have been removing old world buildings, and removing them is the key. Because when they're all gone, we will all forget, and we will all believe their stories, because we're not gonna have any proof of the past to present. Now going back to Wittett, I wanna show the rest of his buildings. The Institute of Science, knowing that it was called Bombay. You can then find these photos. When you type in Mumbai, this photo would never show up. You have Donkeys Inc. right out front, enjoying the day. It's incredible what Bombay opens up for us. I could look at these pictures all day. Just a totally different world. These people were probably so confused. Going home to their sheds, going to the bathroom in the yard, dirt roads, and parking their horses outside of palaces in the town. This guy over here is waving to his friend, heading over to Palace number 8 for his monthly game of pick up sticks. What else are we told that Wittett designed? The Small Causes Court. Here's an older photo of it, and here it is today. Looking nice and run down. Great job, Bombay. Mumbai. Then we get the Wadia Maternity Hospital, your average palace hospital, the Bombay House. When in 2011, a major fire broke out in the Bombay House. And then the building holds a basement. Of course it does. If you're new here, these buildings all have tunnels. They're all connected underground. Everything from catacombs to tunnels. Forbidden maps, angels helping construct palaces, caves, the location of Mu. Great fires in every city that took basically 0 lives, yet destroyed thousands of buildings, orphan asylums, insane asylums, airships and photo manipulation, AI narratives, and of course, our timeline begins in 1800. The last 2 buildings that they mentioned were the King Edward Memorial Hospital and the Grand Hotel. Incredible structures all over this location. Structures that have been sitting here all along. Places that we can all go and see. Now for the bonus today. I have a few things that I want to talk about. First is the Somerset House, located in London, England. We reported this fire live on X on August 17th, 2024. Destruction of the past, right in front of our faces, when they tell us that the cause of the fire is not yet known. We are never given the cause of the fire, because they're not going to tell on themselves. We know that a group is destroying these buildings. The same exact group, in my opinion, that is attempting to hide our true history from all of us. They're destroying the old world's work over and over. August 19th, 2 days after the fire, they still don't know who or what caused the fire. And it was still being investigated, of course. And just like we saw in France with the fire from episode 87, there was, of course, no cause. And then we can see that nobody talks about it anymore. All of the articles are from a month ago. So once the news is reported of the initial fire, that nobody knows how the fire started, then they just leave it alone and hope that nobody thinks about it anymore. Not a single article about it anymore. Very interesting. This is a true investigation of the 2020s, being able to break the news, get the pop, and then never cover it again. As you can see, nobody is actually going and asking follow-up questions like, who caused the fire in an old world cathedral? Why is this not known, ever? Well, I think we know. Incredible places of our true past. I feel like they should have given us the camera back in like 1910. After the power tool got here, after the horses and wagons were done, and after the porta potty era. Because just seeing the technology of the time, that single horsepower engines next to like 20 palaces on the same street, it just gives it all away so fast. Whoever gave us the camera back that fast, I think they really messed that one up, in my opinion. 1910 would have been a better option. They needed to wait like 100 years on that one. So we covered Mumbai, or Bombay, India today. The largest city in India in terms of population. But then we also have Delhi, where our friends are there as well. Just over there protecting this thing, the Victory Tower. It was mostly built between 1199 and 1220. It's all documented, of course. Nothing seems off. The spiral journals of the 1200s people, they were left there, up at the top of the 399 steps. Now, it's weird when you see one of these things, but it's very weird when you see two. And the other one is located all the way in Afghanistan. We can talk about that one and that entire area another time in the future if you want me to. Let me know. But first, we need to see this area on a map. We can see where this one is located in India, but we can also see that there are other important structures right here next to it. Right here. This is the Victory Tower. Very obviously a structure from the old world, the previous civilization. There's no doubt about it. Now, dropping this guy down, we can see the other structures in the same exact area. Structures that do not belong in our timeline. Not fitting in with the narrative that we are all told. Stone structures that have been here all along. A closer look at this so-called Victory Tower and a clear shot that this location has been destroyed. It's incredible that this is still sitting here for all of us to see. Dropping the guy down over here and seeing that they have this. And for so many years, nobody has questioned this. How is that possible? Showing the comparisons to the old world's work, and then the way that we construct things today, proving that we are not moving forward. We are going backwards 100%. And something happened here where we live, an event that took the previous civilization with it. Zooming out, we have a supposed tomb, all located right next to each other. A clear shot at the Victory Tower from its location. The previous civilization's work has been sitting here all of our lives, waiting for us to realize it. It's been sitting right here in every single city, all over the world, right in front of our faces. We were all just too blind to see it until now. Welcome to Vienna, Austria, where we have the St. Charles Church. We have shown that in the 1700s, humans didn't even have toilet paper, using the good old trusty hand. This was the mindset in the 1700s, we are told. And then we all get this, a palace. And today, we are going to expose its narrative to the world. A narrative that we have all blindly accepted for so many years. Until now. In 1713, this hand-wiping civilization just had so many palace masterminds that they had to hold an architectural competition because they just couldn't decide which one of these outhouse living, donkey riding master architects to pick from. There were just so many of them that they needed to hold a competition, if you can believe it. They find their winner in 1716. The wagons would get the stone and the marble right to the site. Not only this, but in 1713, Vienna, Austria only had a population of about 100 to 150,000 people. Beginning this palace construction the exact same year, 1713, that Vienna was hit with the devastating plague, reducing the population dramatically. This was, of course, no problem for the mainstream narrative. Plague or no plague, only 150,000 people. This palace was going to get done. Oh, and remember, half of the 150,000 people, they're children. So they're not building anything. Vienna, Austria, they were determined to hold a palace building competition. And the palace would be here forever. The fact that these stories worldwide were never questioned until now is extremely alarming. 75,000 adults at the time. We're realistically looking at around 30,000 individuals that would be eligible for this supposed mastermind competition, considering all factors, age and the rest. Living in sheds, no power tools, no light bulbs, and working by moonlight. Was everybody just born with palace architecture skills? No. And they couldn't just build themselves a bathroom. It's not adding up. Do you know a single person today that holds the knowledge to construct this? I don't know anybody that can construct this today. In 2024, I've personally talked to so many architects at this point. Not one time do they agree with the mainstream narrative. So Johann wins. We are told in the middle of a plague, 1716, they get started. And 7 years later, he dies. And his son, his son completes the construction. Of course he does. Joseph Emanuel Fischer von Erlach, the son, pinned to the completion of this palace. He was born in 1693, we are told, meaning that he was only 23 years old when the project started. Again, nothing against the people that have never trained and have no actual experience and no education. But in order to build a palace, I think that you would probably need to have taken a class or two. You would think. Let me know what you think about that. Developing his skills in his father's shed. At 18 years old, in 1711, he was working on 4 different buildings. So, let's take a look at these buildings. This is the first one, we are told. The Lobkowitz Palace. The Palais Trotzen. I think that the funniest thing would be is to see what these 2 master builders were going home and living in. I wish we had a photo of their house, because I know they weren't living in a palace. I'm sure these 2 were riding home on Seabiscuit, waiting to get to their shed. They're also pinned to this court and this palace as well. For anybody new here, these characters that are pinned to these palaces, these stories are just that. We have proven this, in my opinion, through 94 episodes. There was a very powerful, extremely advanced civilization here where we are today. And they were all over the world. They held all of the technology that we have now and so much more. And their structures, their palaces, they sit here looking at us every day. And most of us never questioned it. Until now. A small population with 0 training, no power tools, we are told. A guy and his son, during a plague, knocking out palace after palace, and then riding home on their horse to their shed, freezing in winters. While everybody is dying from the plague, nobody would be focused on building this building. They would be focused on living. This is the narrative that we were all believing. And take a look at this detail, all the way up this thing. Could you even imagine seeing a mistake? I think I'd lose my mind. The chisels of the 1700s were as good as lasers. They were practicing their chiseling skills as a baby. But sir, I have no idea how to chisel all of this stuff. I have no training. If you don't get this done, I'm taking away your moss wiping privileges. You better knock it off. Oh, and did I show you the inside? See anything suspicious? Anything that would give it all away? Any symbols? Let me know. Can we just take a look at this for a second? This is insane. Who else wishes that the basic box style would just go out of style already? Who else wants their town to get a few of these done? We are evolving and advancing, of course, right? We're not? No, we're not. If an 18-year-old could do this in 1700 with no power tools during a plague, we should be able to do it today. You think a college student today could get this done with training and with power tools? I'd love to see one try. If you've seen episodes 72, 78, and 92, you will know how important symbolism is. You will also know what is really beneath these structures. You will know that when you see a skull right here in the middle of these two guys, we can only guess as to what is beneath our feet when we walk in there. With more angels, it's just art, of course, and more angels depicted on the ceiling. Again, it's just art, and it's all over this place. All over the walls. Marble angels. Organs that have angels on top of it. In my opinion, I don't believe that it's a coincidence that angels are depicted on these palaces all over the world, in every single country. I believe that it's possible that they were here and guided the people of the time, depicting what they knew about the world. I don't believe that this place that we all live is the place that we're all led to believe. After everything that we've seen and know to this point, suggesting this is very basic. It's not a reach at all. If it weren't embedded into the walls, the statues, the paintings, and then confirmed in narratives from local legends that are being suppressed, like we have seen in Lalibela. If this wasn't the case, then I wouldn't suggest it, but it is. And on top of it, the narratives that we are given are ridiculous and aren't logical at all. The structures are insane. They don't look like something a civilization of nobody, going through a plague, riding around on horses and wagons with dirt roads and having no power tools would build. And a very interesting note here is that this palace with the skull in the room is located in the dead center of Austria. The dead center. What have we learned about the dead center? Are you ready to go deeper? We have shown the St. Stephen's Basilica in Vienna, Austria, which is only located 0.68 miles away from the St. Charles Church. And we know that these buildings are connected underground. We know that the St. Stephen's Basilica had become the resting place for thousands of people, telling us that a common practice was to remove the internal organs, the heart, and then bury the individual separately. Can we go back to this picture for a second? Can you tell me what this individual is holding in his hand? Is that a heart? Let me know. These symbols are right in front of us. We all just didn't understand what we were looking at before this research. Just adding in a note here that this individual is wearing gloves. This was a messy project. Again, rows of stacked bones under churches in Vienna, Austria, with guided tours. Get your tickets today. Unbelievable. I believe this is the previous civilization, 100%. I believe it is the group that was here, and they are now underneath our feet. It's very strange. Now check out this place. It definitely gives Budapest and Edinburgh a run for their money. The whole place looks like you're in the old world. I can't even imagine going there and seeing this. Let's check one of these palaces out. Let's do Disney World in Austria. Look at this picture. This is insane. Look at the horses and wagons, the dirt roads, and a palace towering over them. This structure is the city hall. Look at the size of the people. Austria, I think you did it. You might be the most incredible city that I've ever seen. to this point. Look at the statues in the front of this place, with a clock tower, 30 arches down here at the bottom. And we all know that these buildings are all connected underground, with another design competition being held in the 1860s, we are told. This time, Frederick was the winner. Repeating names yet again. We're told that this was done in just 11 years, when we all know that the Kleksinski building in Chicago, this box, took 14 years, with all of us here to see it, with power tools, from 1960 to 1974. And the architect had some training. Just for a little perspective, this photo is from 1885, we are told, showing the transportation that was available at the time. This donkey riding community is responsible for constructing palaces. Are you sure? Me either. Again, giving us the camera back a little too quick, in my opinion. Constructed from 1872 to 1883, with the City Hall painted around 1860, predating the narrative's construction years by 12 years. This narrative is all over the place. Constructed from 1872 to 1883, we were told. Vienna, Austria, 1855. Now predating the construction date by 17 years. Multiple sources, multiple depictions of this palace being here before its supposed construction date, with a separate source stating that it was built from 1872 to 1883. So you tell me, with horrible news that the entire facade of the Vienna City Hall was already renovated. We know here what restoration or renovation really means. It means destruction of the past, our true history. We have seen where they remove statues and they just throw them into the lawn for 30 years before destroying them. An 11-stage project that began in September 2012. Here were the 11 phases of the destruction. This structure, this palace, it did not need our help. And we all know this here. Now check this out. More confirmation. The City Hall has the following structure from the top to the bottom. The main tower, attic, second floor, first floor, half floor, ground floor, first basement, and a second basement. A sub-basement is exactly what we are reading here. It's unbelievable. Confirmation that there is activity under the structure, tunnels, connecting the buildings yet again. And remember, it says second basement, but we know that there are more. The first basement was opened on February 12th, 1899. Opened in 1899? What? It was closed before this. The artistic design in the basement. What are we reading? The first basement contains numerous rooms, including 2 different halls, with destruction work in 1925, 1952, and 2005, where murals in the basement were changed. Incredible. So you can actually go in here today. And remember, they're not gonna tell you anything about that second basement. They have a restaurant in the first basement now, which, remember, was supposedly constructed from 1872 to 1883. This is what we were told, 11 years. Yet the renovation project was completed, taking over 10 years just to clean the place up. From 2012 to 2023, can you see very clearly now that something is extremely off about what we've been told? Taking almost as long to clean the place up in 2012 to 2023 versus building the entire structure, all the basements and all of the floors in the 1800s. A structure that spreads over an area of 210,890 square feet, arranged around 7 inner courtyards, a total space of about 1,220,000 square feet, is spread over 3 floors and 2 basements, maybe more. holding 2,987 rooms. Also has a central tower with a height of 322 feet. What an incredible place. And right next door, they're destroying this church and putting a sign out in front, so you can't even see what they're up to. Nice. If you're in the area, I suggest taking a look around now before they continue to restore the whole place into boxes. And you can really go down any road here, and there are structures from the old world. Going back to episode 91, we have more angels depicted all over this thing, with the first mass taking place in 1768, and 12-year-old Wolfgang Mozart was conducting the songs. Of course he did. We just picked any random building, and they said that this is where Wolfgang Mozart started his career. Can you believe it? Then we have the Vienna State Opera. Again, Donkeys Inc. is hard at work. Something that blows my mind, just looking at these pictures, is seeing the donkeys and the wooden wheels with the wagon. And then thinking, what if it rained one day? The dirt roads would be a mess. The wooden wheels on the wagon would never hold all that stone. This would take years to get the stone to the site. And especially in winters, with snow covering the whole place, you're never gonna get a good day to ship the stone. So when we get, it takes 10 years to restore the place, and only 11 to build the whole thing. There are major flaws that we all need to be aware of. Logistics that don't make sense. And this is why I keep saying that I think they gave us the camera back too quick. With more angels depicted up here to the right, inside the building, and painted on the ceiling in this room, and also painted on the ceiling in this room. So it's not just the outside that's incredible. The inside took so much detail, and a group of people, a civilization, that fully understood how to get this done. Oh, and flying horses outside. So clearly, we are not being told the full story about this place that we all live. What did we all miss? Why is it being suppressed? And why do these buildings, these structures and sites, worldwide, why do they hold narratives that are clearly fabricated? Narratives that are impossible to get behind. For example, going back to this area and finding a theater that has architecture from the gods, not fitting in with what we've been told. Again, angels depicted all over it. All of this done with a chisel? Are you sure? Built in 1540, we are told, after the old one fell victim to a fire in 1525. I'm gonna ask, has the mainstream narrative repeated itself too many times to be trusted? I personally believe so. I believe we are finding and exposing its flaws, its keys, multiple times within the same narrative, largely destroyed in a bombing raid by the United States Air Force, and 1 month later, on April 12th, 1945, it was further damaged by a fire of unknown origins. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I'll be back very soon with much more. See ya.